Endlich! Endlich ist es wieder soweit. Lang ist her seit dem letzten Let's Play. Doch jetzt ist wieder eins draußen. Hallo Leute. Und das mit einem wirklich tollen Spiel, finde ich. Nämlich Metal Gear Solid. Ja, also mir gefällt das Spiel schon ziemlich gut. Metal Gear Solid kennen vielleicht schon viele von euch. Auf jeden Fall, wie ihr seht, ist es hier die Legacy Edition und die erste CD mit Metal Gear Solid 3, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, Metal Gear Solid 2. Ja, aber ich fange dann lieber mal mit Metal Gear Solid 3 an, weil das nämlich zeitlich gesehen der erste Teil ist, geschichtlich gesehen. Fangen wir mal an. Virtuose Mission und Operation Snake Eater. Ja, es gibt viel über das Spiel zu erzählen. Das ist schon wirklich toll. Also wie schon gesagt, es ist die Legacy Edition und ja, alles in HD, also sollte es sein. Es ist ja kein richtiges Remake, aber alles halt in HD gesetzt worden. Sofern man das unter HD verstehen kann. Es ist nicht das erste Mal, dass ich das Spiel spiele. Ich habe es auch schon früher gespielt. Damals noch auf der PS2. Und ich erinnere mich immer wieder gerne daran zurück. Es war eine schöne Zeit mit dem Spiel. Und ja. Metal Gear Solid 3 HD Edition. Fangen wir da auch gleich mal ein neues Spiel an und natürlich gefällt mir MGS 3. Yep. Ich spiele jetzt auf normal, denke ich mal, denn ich gebe es ja zu, ich glaube jeder weiß es auch, dass ich nicht der Beste bin.
After the end of World War II, the world was split into two, East and West. This marked the beginning of the era called the Cold War.
Pakistan, altitude 30,000 feet.
Approaching Soviet airspace.
20 minutes to drop off.
Commencing internal depressurization. Equipment check. Arm main parachute.
All right. You ready to go?
Drop zone still showing a high pressure mass. Cav okay.
Good. We've got high visibility.
Put out that cigar. Connecting oxygen hose to interior connector. Put on your mask. Does this panty waste know what he's doing?
Approaching release point.
10 minutes to drop off.
Hey, are you deaf?
He said put out the cigar and put on your mask.
Depressurization complete.
Checking oxygen supply.
6 minutes to drop off. Opening rear hatch.
Sunrise.
External temperature minus 46 degrees Celsius. 2 minutes to drop off. Stand up.
You'll be falling at 130 miles per hour. Try not to get frostbite from the wind chill.
1 minute to drop off. Move to the rear.
Activate bailout model.
This is one for the history books. The world's first halo jump.
10 seconds to drop off. Stand by. Status okay. All green.
Prepare for drop off. Countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Spread your wings
And fly. God be with you.
Und Sprung. Ab geht's in die Tiefe. Directed by Hideo Kojima.
Jack, I've got some important news. The head of the CIA has finally given us the green light for the Virtuous mission.
Virtual mission?
No, the Virtuous mission. The future of our Fox unit depends on it. If it succeeds, we'll be officially organized into a unit.
Virtuous mission? Sounds like some kind of initiation ritual.
You know, don't get cocky. This isn't a training op.
Right. So what exactly is this wonderful mission?
Well, about 2 years ago, a certain Soviet scientist requested asylum in the West through one of our moles. His name is Nikolai Stepanovich Sokolov. He's head of the OKB-754 Design Bureau, one of the Soviets' top-secret weapon research facilities, and the East's foremost expert on weapons development.
Sokolov? Isn't he that famous rocket scientist?
The very same. On April the 12th, 1961, the Soviets achieved the first manned spaceflight in history.
The Earth was blue, but there was no God.
Well spoken. The rocket that carried Yuri Gagarin to orbit was the A-1, known as the Vostok rocket. Sokolov is said to be the man most responsible for the multi-engine cluster used in that rocket. After Gagarin's flight, Sokolov left rocket development to become the head of the newly established Design Bureau.
From a lowly technician to head of a design bureau, that's quite a success story. So why do you want to defect?
It seems he'd become afraid of his own creations.
Afraid?
Call it a crisis of conscience.
And for that, he left his country and his family behind and went over the fence?
Not exactly. One of his conditions was that his family was also to be taken safely to the West. We used a mole to get the family out first and succeeded in sneaking Sokolov over the Berlin Wall shortly afterwards. I was the one who conducted the operation.
The security on the eastern side was still full of holes back then. Then what?
We got Sokolov over in one piece, but the whole ordeal had left him exhausted, and we checked him into a hospital in West Berlin. It took him 2 weeks and more than 600 miles to get from the research facility in the Soviet Union to Berlin. He was in no condition to say anything coherent. And it was only a week later that we had something much bigger on our hands.
The Cuban Missile Crisis.
October the 16th, 1962, President Kennedy received word that the Soviets were in the process of deploying intermediate-range ballistic missiles in Cuba. The President demanded that the Soviets dismantle and remove the missiles. At the same time, he announced a naval blockade to prevent further missile shipments from reaching Cuba. But the Soviets didn't back down, instead placing their armed forces on secondary alert. Soviet transport ships carrying missiles continued on course towards Cuba. US and Soviet forces went on alert for an all-out nuclear war. Frantic negotiations were conducted through the UN's Emergency Security Council and unofficial channels to end the hair-trigger standoff. Finally, on October the 28th, the Soviet Union agreed to remove its missiles from Cuba, and so the world avoided a nuclear holocaust. But in order to get the Soviets to pull their missiles out, we had to make a deal.
You mean the one where the US agreed to remove its IRBMs from Turkey?
No. The Jupiter IRBMs deployed in Turkey were obsolete, and we were going to get rid of them anyway. They had no strategic value whatsoever to either the US or the Russians. The Turkey deal was a ruse, a cover story that was fed to the other intelligence agencies around the world.
So what did the Russians really want?
Sokolov. They wanted us to return Sokolov.
You mean the Soviets pulled out of Cuba just to get their hands on Sokolov?
That's right.
What the hell was he working on?
At the time, we had no idea. We were running out of time. It was either give up Sokolov or risk full-scale nuclear war. In the end, we had no choice. President Kennedy gave in to Khrushchev's demand. The next day, I got Sokolov out of the hospital, handed him over to agents on the eastern side. Sokolov kept on screaming, "Save me," until he disappeared from my sight. Then a month ago, we received some new information from one of our moles.
About Sokolov?
Yes. He was taken back to the research facility and forced to continue working on the weapon in question under KGB supervision. What's more, it's on the verge of completion.
So what kind of weapon is it? Something to do with space rockets?
No, missiles.
Same technology.
I guess you're right. We don't know the details, but it appears to be a new kind of nuclear device. For half a year now, the Soviets have been conducting frequent nuclear tests at Semipalatinsk.
Something to do with the weapon, I assume.
We're talking about a secret weapon so big that Khrushchev was ready to pull out of Cuba to get it back.
Is Sokolov still in the facility?
No. According to our intelligence, he's in Selinoyarsk, a place in the mountains about 3 miles to the west that's known as the Virgin Cliffs.
The Virgin Cliffs. Nice name for a virtuous mission.
They moved him there just recently.
Why?
Apparently, they're conducting a field test of the weapon, but it's our best chance to get him back. This mission would never have been possible if he was still in the research facility. This is our last chance. Sokolov must have known that too when he contacted us.
Wir müssen es schaffen, ihn da rauszuholen. Also ich wollte nur noch eins erwähnen, die Szenen, also die Sequenz will ich laufen lassen, weil sonst ist die Story, ja, in die Sequenz kommt halt die Story am meisten vor und das ist halt drin. So, reinsdrücken.
Your mission is to infiltrate
Schön ist
Selinoyarsk in the Soviet
Grün,
mountains, ensure the
gelb,
safety of
grün.
Sokolov and bring him back to the west.
Fluss ist da, also ich. Schön, schön.
If we don't get Sokolov back before that weapon is complete, we'll be facing a major crisis. The clock is ticking. Once we've confirmed the rescue of Sokolov, stand by at the recovery
Schauen wir mal
point.
nach oben.
A recovery
Ah,
balloon will be
Fox
dropped at that point.
Oder Fox, ja.
Helium will be
Das
pumped
Komische
into the
ist,
balloon to inflate it. The process takes
dass der
about 20
Fallschirm
minutes.
Löcher hat. Ja.
Once it's complete, the
Taktik.
gunship's arm will latch onto the balloon and pull it up.
The Fulton surface-to-air recovery system. I'm familiar with the theory.
Take it easy. It's been combat-proven.
Do you think Sokolov is up to it?
The shock will be less than during a parachute jump, and the arm can handle up to 500 pounds.
So you're planning on going over the border in a single combat talent?
She's equipped with 2 6-barrel 20mm Vulcan cannons, as well as 2 40mm machine guns.
Sounds like she could hold her own against a battalion of tanks.
Even with the fuel in the reserve tank, we're facing a 4-hour time limit. If all goes well, it shouldn't take more than a few hours.
Home in time for dinner.
But if anything goes wrong,
You'll be eating dinner, breakfast,
and all the rest of your meals in the jungle.
Schöne Sache. Stellt euch das mal in echt vor. Das wäre schon mal eine extreme Situation. Und jetzt wird zur Landung rein und ja. Durch den Wald hindurch. Ja. Und natürlich bleibt der Rucksack hängen. Klar. Aber wenigstens nicht von der Klippe gefallen. Snake. Gesprochen von David Hayter.
Do you copy? You're already in enemy territory, and somebody might be listening in. From here on out, we'll be using code names to refer to each other. Your code name for this mission will be Naked Snake. I'll be referring to you as Snake from now on. You're not to mention your real name.
Snake?
What, you don't like snakes?
What do you mean?
You've eaten one before, haven't you?
In survival training.
I'm glad to hear that.
I don't know if I'd ever order one in a restaurant, but...
Be careful, you might not have a choice.
What about you, Major? What should I call you?
Let's see. I'll be Tom. Call me Major Tom. This will be a sneaking mission. You must not be seen by the enemy. You must leave no trace of your presence. Is that clear? This kind of infiltration is the Fox unit's speciality. In other words, weapons and equipment are procured on site. That goes for food as well. You're completely naked, just as your name implies.
Great. Now I see why you asked me if I like snakes. I suppose calling me Snake was your idea of a joke, too.
No. There's a good reason for that. I'll tell you later when the time is right.
Gotcha. Getting back to the subject, how exactly am I supposed to feed myself?
You've been issued a knife and a tranquilizer gun. Use them to hunt for food. You'll also find some medical supplies in your backpack.
Yeah, about the backpack. I lost it in a tree on the way down.
I see. Well, you'd better go back and get it then. You know where it is?
No problem. I can see it from here. It's stuck on a branch.
To climb a tree, stand in front of a tree that's covered in ivy and press the action button. I'll be monitoring your progress over the radio. We can't risk violating Soviet airspace, but I'll be in the gunship. My frequency is 140.85. I'll give you a call if I need to talk to you. If you need to talk to me, use the send function. Okay, Snake, go get your backpack.
Okay. Endlich nach diesem elendlangen Gespräch. Remuchi. So, Süd, so was. Ja, gehen wir mal erkunden. Da. Medizin. Yep. Mal sehen, was da... Ja, die Klippe. Mal sehen, was da hinten ist. Sieht nicht so aus, als ob da was wäre, aber gehen wir mal rüber. Oh doch, eine Schlange, cool. Die töten wir doch gleich. Die ein wenig Nahrung erhalten. Yep. Schlange H. So, gehen wir dann mal weiter. Pilze, cool. Pilze A. Falsche Seite. Und da ist auch schon der Rucksack.
I see you've retrieved your backpack, Snake. To equip a weapon, it's necessary to take it out of your backpack. In the survival viewer, choose Weapon from the backpack. Your available weapons will be displayed in a window in the upper left. From that list, choose the weapon you want to equip and press the Enter button. For other equipped items, just do the same thing from Item.
Got it. Use the survival viewer backpack.
Yep, that's right. Survival is fundamental to this mission. After you've been out in the field for a while, your stamina will start to drop. If your stamina gets too low, it'll affect your performance. You won't be able to shoot accurately, for example, and your wounds won't heal as smoothly. Keep an eye on your stamina so you don't run out. To recover lost stamina, you can hunt for local flora and fauna. You can use either your tranquilizer gun or your knife to hunt.
My only weapon is a Mark 22 Hush Puppy tranquilizer gun?
That's right. It's been fitted with its own suppressor. However, the suppressor will deteriorate every time you fire. Once its durability reaches 0, the noise suppression effect will be gone. So don't get too trigger-happy with it. The suppressor's durability is shown in the icon. Any weapons and equipment beyond what you're carrying now, you'll have to find as you go.
I have to find my own weapons and equipment? Whose crazy idea was this anyway?
Solo covert actions are standard Fox operating procedure. You can't leave any traces of your presence. No weapons, equipment, footprints, sweat, or bodily waste. The same goes for bullets and cartridges, too. Your presence in enemy territory is already a violation of international conventions of warfare. There aren't supposed to be any American soldiers in Russia. It could spark an international incident. You can't let anyone see you. You can't let the enemy know you're there. This is a stealth mission. You're a ghost, Snake, in every sense of the word. And there'll be no rescue if you're captured. The military and US government will deny any involvement in the affair.
Then I'll just have to take care of myself, huh?
I'm afraid so. You've been given a fake death pill for that purpose. SIS guidelines stipulate that soldiers on covert ops like this one be issued a potassium cyanide capsule. Tape it to your body so you can take it when you need to.
How generous of you.
Use it if you're taken prisoner by the enemy. It'll send you into a state of false death for a short time.
Fooling them into thinking that I'm really dead. So how do I come back to life?
Just take the revival pill.
You mean that thing they put in my tooth before the mission?
That's the one. But be careful. If you remain in a state of false death for too long, nothing will be able to bring you back. Remember that.
I'll keep it in mind. You said this was a solo mission, right?
Right.
I guess that means I can't count on any reinforcements.
Correct. The mission rests entirely in your hands.
A real one-man army.
Relax. There's a support team ready to back you up over the radio.
Who?
I'll introduce them to you. This time, survival is of utmost importance. The first member of the support team will be in charge of monitoring your physical condition, acting as a medic, so to speak, as well as recording your mission data. She's a member of Fox as well, and she's here on the gunship with me.
She?
Hello, Snake. I'm paramedic. Nice to meet you.
Paramedic.
As in a medic who comes in by parachute.
Aren't you going to tell me your real name?
Are you going to tell me yours, Mr. Snake?
My name, huh? It's John Doe.
And they call you Jack for short. You're a regular Captain Nemo.
A name means nothing on the battlefield. After a week, no one has a name. What's your name?
Jane Doe.
Very funny.
I wasn't joking, but I'll tell you my name only if you manage to make it back alive. My frequency is 145.73.
She's also in charge of recording your mission data. Whenever you want to save, send a message over the reserved save frequency, 140.96.
So saving lets me record my mission data.
That's right. It also records the state of your health.
Good to know.
There's one more person I want to introduce you to, Snake.
Huh?
Speaking of snakes, you remember the boss, don't you? A legendary soldier and your mentor. Actually, it was the boss that got the DCI's authorization in the first place. She's going to be serving as Fox's mission advisor.
The boss is?
She also helped me plan this mission. She and I were at SAS together.
Jack, is that you? How many years has it been?
Boss?
That's right. It's me.
Oh.
Talk to me. Let me hear your voice.
It's been 5 years, 72 days, and 18 hours.
You've lost weight.
You can tell just by the sound of my voice.
Of course I can. I know all about you.
Really? Well, I don't know anything about you.
What's that supposed to mean?
Why'd you disappear on me all of a sudden?
I was on a top-secret mission. You didn't need me anymore.
But there were still so many things I wanted you to teach me.
No, I taught you everything you needed to know about fighting techniques. I taught you all I could. The rest you needed to learn on your own.
Techniques, sure. But what about how to think like a soldier?
How to think like a soldier? I can't teach you that. A soldier needs to be strong in spirit, body, and technique. And the only thing you can learn from someone else is technique. In fact, technique doesn't even matter. What's most important is spirit. Spirit and body are like two sides of a single coin. They're the same thing. I can't teach you how to think. You'll just have to figure it out for yourself. Listen to me, Jack. Just because soldiers are on the same side right now doesn't mean they always will be. Having personal feelings about your comrades is one of the worst sins you can commit. Politics determine who you face on the battlefield. And politics are a living thing. They change along with the times. Yesterday's good might be tomorrow's evil.
Is that why you abandoned me?
No, it had nothing to do with you. I already told you, Jack. I was on a top-secret mission. A soldier has to follow whatever orders he's given. It's not his place to question why. But you're looking for a reason to fight. You're a natural-born fighter, but you're not quite a soldier. A soldier is a political tool, nothing more. That's doubly true if he's a career soldier. Right and wrong have no place in his mission. He has no enemies and no friends. Only the mission. You follow the orders you're given. That's what being a soldier is.
I do whatever I have to get the job done. I don't think about politics.
That's not the same thing. Sooner or later, your conscience is going to bother you. In the end, you have to choose whether you're going to live as a soldier or just another man with a gun. There's a saying in the Orient, loyalty to the end. Do you know what it means?
Being patriotic.
It means devoting yourself to your country.
I follow the president and the top brass. I'm ready to die for them if necessary.
The president and the top brass won't be there forever. Once their terms are up, others will take their place.
I follow the will of the leader, no matter who's in charge.
People aren't the ones who dictate the missions.
Then who does?
The times. People's values change over time, and so do the leaders of a country. So there's no such thing as an enemy in absolute terms. The enemies we fight are only enemies in relative terms, constantly changing with the times. As long as we have loyalty to the end, there's no point in believing in anything, even in those we love.
And that's the way a soldier's supposed to think?
The only thing we can believe in with absolute certainty is the mission, Jack.
All right, but do me a favor.
What is it?
Call me Snake.
Snake? Oh, right. Your codename is Snake. It suits you well.
That's right. The legendary unit that the boss put together during World War II was a snake. The Cobra unit, a group of heroes that brought the war to an end and saved the world. As long as you've got a legendary hero backing you up, you'll be fine. Isn't that right, Snake?
Yeah. I can't think of anyone else I'd rather have with me. Oh, and one more thing, boss.
Yes?
It's good to hear your voice again.
Same here. After all, who knows if either of us will make it out alive? Snake, you are always best at urban warfare and infiltrating buildings. But this is the jungle. Survival is going to be key. Those CQC techniques I taught you are sure to come in handy.
CQC? Close quarters combat, huh? I've been in the Green Berets for the past few years. I'm probably pretty rusty.
Not to worry. I'll be here to help you remember. After all, this is your first actual survival mission. I'll be supporting you over the radio.
Where are you, boss? Next to the Major?
The boss is communicating with us by radio from aboard a Permit-class submarine in the Arctic Ocean.
My frequency is 141.80. Call me if you need my advice on battle techniques.
Gotcha.
Your mission is to retrieve Dr. Sokolov. Dr. Sokolov is being held in an abandoned factory located to the north of your current position. Avoid heavy combat and don't let anyone see you. Don't forget that this is a stealth mission.
Dieses Gespräch hat ja jetzt noch länger gedauert als das vorige.
Snake, try to remember some of the basics of CQC.
Ich versuch's.
Commencing Virtuous
Los
mission
geht's.
now.
So, jetzt sind wir in der Moschee Süd. Schauen wir uns mal ein wenig um. Ja, nichts Besonderes. Wir haben auch weiter. Der Moschee Sumpfgegend. Also ich finde das Spiel auch ziemlich schön von der Gestaltung her und von der Grafik. Die Bewegung ist jetzt auch ziemlich flüssig. Und ja, hier haben wir hier unsere Pistole, MK22 Betäubungspistole mit Schalldämpfer. Ja, dann haben wir noch ein Messer und ein Richtmikro. Hier haben wir ein Fernglas, eine Zigarre, die Todespille, Personenmelder, den Bewegungsmelder, Sensor und das Sonar. Ich aktiviere mal noch nichts, gehen wir einfach weiter, schauen was passiert. Ja, hier ist also Sumpf und da ist schon ein Krokodil. Alligator, kein. Sieht eher wie ein Alligator aus. Jetzt was reingerannt. Gehen wir mal rüber. Also hier haben wir zum Beispiel, hier ist das Pausenmenü, hier haben wir die Tarnung, den Rucksack, die Nahrung, die Optionen, die Karte und ja, das, was man da nicht sehen kann, sind die Heilmittel. Die kriegt man aber erst später. Ändern wir zuerst die Bemalung hier, Wald, natürlich. Und ja, ich würde die PM werden, aber irgendwie ist auch schwarz ziemlich gut. Naja, macht dann aber in späteren Sinn keine Chance, keinen Sinn, also nehme ich lieber die DPM. So, weiter geht's mit dem neuen Anzug. Da oben sehe ich schon Bienenstock. Den holen wir mal runter. Yep. Salbe und das Nest gekriegt. Komisch, was da gerade war. So, gehen wir darüber. Schalldämpfer noch dazu gekriegt. Ist immer toll. Hier scheint auch nichts mehr zu sein. Dann gehen wir in die nächste Gegend. Oh, Schlange. Oh, wieso nicht? Töten wir sie auch. Noch eine. Überall. Wie mit von denen. Oh, jetzt sind wir schon in der Mochi Nord. Ja, schon weit fahren. Oh, ja, Sequenz.
Major, I've spotted 2 enemy soldiers.
They're probably KGB troops sent to guard Sokolov.
AK-47s and grenades.
Nicht vergessen, das Spiel spielt zeitlich
Snake,
1964.
your presence in Soviet territory is already a violation of international law. You can't let the Kremlin find out that the CIA and the American government are involved. Contact with the enemy is strictly prohibited. Don't engage them in battle either. This is a stealth mission. Got that?
The Major is right. The point of this mission is to sneak through the jungle without being seen. The success of the mission depends on how well you use your camouflage. Change your camouflage by selecting Camouflage from the Survival Viewer. The Uniform option lets you pick your uniform, while the Face option lets you change your face paint. Choosing camouflage that blends in with your surroundings will help you conceal yourself more effectively. Also, don't forget that anything that moves will stand out in the jungle. If you just stand up and run around like an idiot, you're bound to be spotted. But if you crawl instead, you should be able to sneak by without being noticed. You can see how effective your camouflage is by looking at the camo index. The camo index shows how well your current camouflage blends in with the surrounding area. The higher the value, the harder you are to spot, and vice versa. The key is to make yourself one with nature. Keep that in mind as you go along, okay?
So, dann machen wir mal weiter. Da hinten ist einer, beziehungsweise zwei. Ja, rüsten wir uns gleich mit der Betäubungspistole aus. Und ja, eigentlich, wie schon vorher gesagt, Trophäe, ich sehe dich. Eigentlich, wie schon gesagt, die Grafik finde ich eigentlich ziemlich gut. Da ja das Spiel 2004 erschienen ist, finde ich ziemlich gut. Okay, es ist zwar ein HD-Remake, aber trotzdem. Headshot, tot. Also nicht tot, weiter geht's. Finde es eigentlich ziemlich gut. So, schauen wir mal, was hier ist. Oh, Schlange und die SVD, Dragon- und Scharfschützengewehr. Also, ich liebe Sniper. Kann man das so sagen? Ja, egal. Also, Scharfschützengewehre in dem Spiel, weil es ist einfach cool zu bedienen. Der schläft schon da. Gut so. Und nehmen wir ihn doch gleich mal aus. Das ist eine coole Sache. Munition. Und als zweites Brenngranaten. Gut. Mal sehen, ob hier einer ist. Nicht. Sieht nicht danach aus. Aber da hinten, das weiß ich, da habe ich einen gesehen. Gehen wir nach rechts. Jetzt vorsichtig. Bisher noch keine entdeckt. Da sehe ich. Oder? Ich glaube, da war schon vorher jemand. Und dann eine Kiste wieder im Bau. Da ist er. Na, dann versuchen wir mal, den gleich mal abzuschießen. Ja, die Steuerung ist ein bisschen zart, aber ja, jetzt kommt der zweite. Jetzt glaube ich, kann ich es abbrechen. Gehen wir weiter. Ich nehme zuerst einmal die Kiste an hier. Geht nicht. Da die sind noch ziemlich nah beisammen. Aber der eine geht, na, versuchen wir es. Auf gut Glück. Yep, ins Land der Träume geschickt. Jetzt der nächste. Fuck. Nicht so gut. Aber er hat mich nicht entdeckt. Und ist jetzt schon weg. Passt. Der Baumstoff hier. Ja, HQ, ich meine ja nur, musste ich nicht schon jetzt so aufregen. Ist ja erst anfangen. Nehmen wir den auch mal aus. Oh nein, das sind schon mal zwei. Das HQ geschickt hat. Mal sehen, schnell betäuben. Ich glaube, den ersten habe ich getroffen, den zweiten ebenso. Der dritte. Wann? Endlich down. Ja. War knapp. Den nächsten auch gleich. War ja nicht einmal 3 Meter von mir entfernt. Hat mich nicht gesehen. Ja. Der Ahnung ist jetzt sowas nutze. Die SVD-Munition voll. Ja, das Ausnehmen ist schon cool, aber ich glaube, das wird zu lange dauern. Muss ich mal dann weniger tun. Aber es ist halt gut, weil man ja immer wieder Munition kriegt und neue Waffen, wie man gesehen hat bei dem einen Blendgranate. Der ist jetzt irgendwie gefährlich dran. Versuchen wir den von hinten zu treffen. Das wäre nicht so schlecht. Perfekt. Und Headshot. So. Das ist der letzte, den ich noch da und die Joe wegnehmen. Und ja. Schauen wir, was da drin ist. Oh, Granate, hübsch. Gehen wir mal weiter. Dolino Wodno. Zwischensequenz. Ja, eins und da. Wieder ein Bienenstock bzw. Hornissenstock. Ich nehme mal an, wenn er so chemisch lacht, dass ich da was machen muss. Wie gesagt, Dolino Wodno, da sind wir. Treffer. Schon lustig. Ja, die Hornissen sind halt stark. Da sehe ich noch zwei hinten. Oh, Trophäe Imker. Nice. Weiter geht's. Nochmal Pilze. Ja, hol ich jetzt nicht. Später dann. Da unten geht's auch lang. Hopp. Und ja, fast runtergefallen, aber weiter. Jetzt. XM16 Ernst. Wahrscheinlich ein Gewehr. Und Munition wie und Pentazemi. So, jetzt versuchen wir die Mauer einmal gescheit lang zu gehen. Nicht so wie vorher. So. Ab zur nächsten Passage. Rasvet oder Rasfet. Keine Ahnung.
Major, I've reached the abandoned factory where Sokolov is supposedly being held. This place is a dump. I can't see Sokolov from here.
Oh,
Security is pretty
fuck,
tight.
vergessen, Brenefka. Oh, aber wir kriegen noch eine Chance.
There are sentries posted around the perimeter. I wonder how many are inside.
Your objective, Sokolov, is inside the factory. They should be holding him in a room in the northeast section.
Northeast section. Got it.
Be careful. Your mission is to bring Sokolov back alive. He must not be exposed to any kind of danger. Do not approach Sokolov while in the alert phase.
Right.
Oh, and one more thing, Snake.
You mean there's more?
No, it's just that when you get to Sokolov, I want you to tell him something from me.
And that is?
Sorry for being so late.
Is that all?
Yes.
Understood. Beginning my approach to the target.
So, gehen wir es mal an. Wir versuchen mal jetzt. Ja. Einfach nur durchzukommen. Der erste wirst du wahrscheinlich sein. Und getroffen. Glaube ich zumindest. Jupp. Und weg ist er, wie man gehört hat. Der nächste. Das war knapp. Yep. Aber ich glaube, den habe ich auch getroffen und weiter geht's. Upp, da war die Bestätigung. Mal sehen. Schaut nicht so, als ob da jemand wäre. Zumindest vorerst nicht. Gehen wir mal durch die Lücke da. Ich glaube, da jemanden gesehen zu haben da hinten. Yep, da ist einer. Schnell mal ändern die Tarnung und Bemalung, weil wir jetzt da drin sind. Und ja, ich glaube, das Kästchenmuster ist das Beste, weil plus 20%. Upp. Das passt schon. Mal sehen. Ich hoffe, dass er mich nicht entdeckt, aber ich vermute doch. Oh fuck. Ja. Niemand. Oh fuck. So, zum Glück Headshot. Oh. Aber ich werde weiterhin angegriffen. Weg. Nein, weg da. Mein Gott. So, hier das Gas da. Da muss er entkommen. Oh nein. Da kommen die von hinten. Nee. Wieso? Natürlich entdecken die mich gleich. So, ich hoffe getroffen. Glaube ich. Was mit dem da? Ah! Fuck, da war ich nicht einmal geachtet. Scheiß Granate, wir müssen noch 3 auf einmal kommen. So, weg mit dir. Jetzt gehen wir halt da nach hinten. Hui. Ja, du bist dann getroffen. Fall endlich um. Ja, der hinten fällt um, der nicht. Von irgendwo werde ich da noch angegriffen. Ja, jetzt ist er auch weg. Ist das jemand von hinten? Doch nicht, das war ein E-Mail-Trag. Ah, da hinten. Aha. Ja klar, verdeck dich in der aus. Hab dich getroffen, Mann. Jupp, hab ich. Blinder Schuss und ein Treffer. So, dann gehen wir mal wieder ran. Schieben wir das gerade. Oh, und eine M37 gefunden. Ich glaube gelesen zu haben, dass es eine Schrotflinte war. Also hier jetzt, in dem kleinen Fenster kurz. Oh, noch 2 Kisten. Schalldämpfer für das Gewehr gefunden. Die andere Munition kann ich nicht haften. Schieben wir das mal runter. Schöne Explosion. Wieso nicht? HQ. Ui, da stehen schon 2. Vorsichtig. Den ersten treffen. Gut, weg ist er. Ich glaube, der zweite wird wesentlich schwerer. Scheiße. Oh ja, ich hab ihn entdeckt. Ja. So Unglück. Steht er denn? Egal, gehen wir dahin. Wir müssten jetzt nur noch warten, bis das Ausweichen da weg ist, weil sonst kommen wir da nicht dran. Ja, kurze Wartezeit hier. Oh, jetzt sind wir drin. Sequence.
You must be Sokolov.
Are you one of Volgin's men? You'll never get it from me.
No. I'm a CIA agent. I've come to escort you back to the other side of the Iron Curtain.
You're CIA?
Yeah. I was sent by Major Zero, the man who got you out 2 years ago.
Zero?
I have a message from him.
What is it?
He said to tell you sorry for being so late.
Did he now?
What does it mean?
It means he's a man of his word. But we've got no time for this. You have to get me out of here before they arrive.
Who's they?
Colonel Volgin of Gru. You in the West know him as Thunderbolt.
Thunderbolt? Never heard of him.
He's a member of the Army's extremist faction, a man who seeks to seize control of the motherland. Ever since the Cuban Missile Crisis 2 years ago, Khrushchev has been pursuing a policy of peaceful coexistence with the West. Despite resistance and criticism from hawks in the army and the provincial authorities, Khrushchev has managed to suppress the opposition so far. But the failure of his agricultural policies has put him in a precarious position. And on top of that, the tragedy last November.
President Kennedy's assassination.
Precisely. In a sense, Khrushchev has lost his biggest partner, and his power base is rapidly crumbling away. A certain group is plotting to use this opportunity to seize power by rallying the anti-government forces, overthrowing Khrushchev, and installing Brezhnev and Kosygin in his place. The mastermind behind this plot is Colonel Volgin of the GRU. He has control over another secret weapons research facility much like this one, OKB-812, known as the Granin Design Bureau, and is using it to further his plans. But that is not enough to satisfy him. Now he's plotting to seize the secret weapon I have been developing here and use it as leverage in his bid for power. The intelligence says that they are going to make their move during the test.
Then, the soldiers outside.
Exactly. They wouldn't need that many men just to keep me inside. Their orders were to prevent Colonel Volgin from capturing me. Even if it meant killing me in the process, or so it would seem. Volgin will come, I'm sure of it. You must get me out of here before then.
Leave it to me.
By the way, your Russian is superb. Where did you learn to speak it?
From my mentor.
Is that so? America's truly a frightening country.
Having second thoughts?
No. I have no love for this place. Let's go.
Major, this is Snake. Sokolov is safe with me. He's doing fine. No injuries.
Good work, Snake. Now hurry up and get Sokolov to the recovery point. We'll rendezvous with you there.
Roger.
What about the sentries?
I managed to get past them.
I see.
What about the boss?
We lost contact with the boss some time ago.
What happened?
It's probably just a weak signal. Just hurry and get Sokolov out of there.
Ja, der Typ scheint witzig zu sein. Auf jeden Fall. Natürlich ist da einer. Wie schon befürchtet.
Freeze!
So this is the legendary boss. Huh? We meet at last.
You're from the Ocelot unit of Spetsnaz. Huh. What's a GRU soldier doing here?
Soldier?
He's the Ocelot commander.
Ha! That's Major Ocelot to you. And don't you forget it.
Sokolov is ours. Now get out of here.
And Ocelot never lets his prey escape.
What?
I can't say it feels good to kill a comrade, even if it is for the GRU.
Sokolov, take cover.
Huh. You're not the boss, are you?
GRU operatives!
What is that stance? Huh. That gun. If you're not the boss, then die.
Major! the other one! Whoa!
You ejected the first bullet by hand, didn't you? I see what you were trying to do, but testing a technique you've only heard about in the middle of battle wasn't very smart. You were asking to have your gun jam on you. Besides, I don't think you're cut out for an automatic in the first place. You tend to twist your elbow to absorb the recoil. That's more of a revolver technique.
You filthy American dog!
But that was some fancy shooting. You're pretty good.
Ja. Skiller Pro, sag ich noch.
Pretty good.
Major, do you read me?
I read you. Snake, you all right?
I've run into a few snags. These guys were after Sokolov too. Apparently they were taking orders from a GRU colonel named Volgan.
A GRU colonel?
Part of an internal Soviet power struggle, according to Sokolov. Something between the KGB and GRU. Between Khrushchev's supporters and Volgan's.
Sokolov was being guarded by the KGB and hunted by GRU? Snake, it sounds like this could be even hotter than Cuba.
I don't like it. Something about the whole thing stinks.
I agree. You'd better hurry.
Sokolov ran off by himself, but I'll catch up to him.
We're counting on you.
Ja, nach dieser unglaublichen Aktion gerade von mir, hahaha, muss ich leider auch schon, oh, halbstarker Trophäe, muss ich leider auch schon das Let's Play für heute beenden. Ist ja schon an der Zeit, denn das Video dauert ja schon eine Stunde, von dem her. Ja, also, bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschö.